Most fast trains today are maglevs, electrics, and diesels. But what about the steamies? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to count down the top 10 fastest American steam locomotives. Plus, we're going to see if they still run to this day. I'm doing American trains only, so no mileage or flying Scotsman. I'll have another top 10 on that in the future. And it's out of the way. All aboard! Number 10. The Union Pacific 4884 Big Boy. We start off here with the largest steam train in the world. It has a length of 132 feet long and a weight of 1.2 million pounds. Big Boys were built by the American Locomotive Company in 1941 to 1944. Union Pacific wanted to have a locomotive to hold very heavy loads, so they had to go big or go home. The Big Boy had a top speed of 80 miles per hour, or 130 kilometers per hour. And 25 Big Boys were built, but by 1961, they were all retired. Or should I say, all but one. Yes, in 2019, Union Pacific made a deal with the Rail Giants Train Museum to restore it and start its new journey. Union Pacific number 4014 is the only Big Boy still in service. Number 9. The Union Pacific FEF 3484 Living Legend. The Union Pacifics aren't over yet, folks. We still got the famous ones here. Union Pacific number 844 was built by the American Locomotive Company in 1944. It was the last steam locomotive built for the Union Pacific Railroad. That's where the living legend comes from. The legend in its name comes from how popular it is. Still doesn't cause the popularity of me. Flying Scotsman, you're in the wrong video. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Phantom. It's okay, Flying Scotsman. Anyway, the 844 has a top speed of 85 miles per hour, or 137 kilometers per hour. Man, he really is a legend. The 844 is still in service today. Like I was saying earlier, that's where the living comes from in its name. Number 8. The Central Railroad of New Jersey 462 G3 Pacific Blue Comet. This one seems to be a forgotten steam locomotive which deserves to be remembered. The G3s were built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1928. The CNJ also called it the seashore's finest train, as it had blue paintwork. Blue Comet had its first service in 1929 and had its last service in 1941. The Blue Comets had a top speed of 90 miles per hour, or 145 kilometers per hour. But speed is what caused the wreck in 1939. That didn't make the Blue Comets have a good future. Only 3 of them were made, but none of them exist today. They were all scrapped. Number 7. The Pennsylvania Railroad 4444 T1 locomotive. Now we go on to a more popular railway, the Pennsylvania Railroad. T1s were built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1942 and 1945 to 1946. They were the last steam locomotives built for the Pennsylvania Railroad. It has a top speed of 101 miles per hour, or 162 kilometers per hour. The T1s were made to try and replace the diesels, and with the T1s pulling express trains instead of freight. 52 of the T1s were made, but they were all scrapped by 1956. But the Pennsylvania Railroad is working on the new T1 Trust. It is supposed to be released somewhere around 2030. Are the steamies about to make a comeback? Number 6. The Santa Fe 484-3751 locomotive. This is a locomotive that people have to just love. It has a great whistle, great speed, great paintwork, etc. The 3751 was built in 1927 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. It has a top speed of 103 miles per hour, or 165 kilometers per hour. It retired in 1957, but it has been restored in 1991. It has served us well with its amazing passenger services and has impressed us ever since. Number 5. The Milwaukee Road 464 F6 locomotive. Here's another forgotten steam locomotive, the Milwaukee Road F6s. They were built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1929. They had a top speed of 104 miles per hour, or 167 kilometers per hour. 14 of the F6s were made, but in the 1950s they were mostly replaced with the diesels. And sadly, by 1954, the F6s were all scrapped. Number 4. The Southern Pacific 484 GS4 number 4449. The Southern Pacific Railroad is one of the most famous and has some of the fastest steam locomotives ever. SP number 4449 is the only surviving GS4 class steam locomotive. The locomotive was built in 1941 by the Lima Locomotive Works. It has a top speed of over 110 miles per hour, or 180 kilometers per hour. It goes very fast during most of its passenger services. It retired in 1957, but it was restored in 1975. And it mostly runs throughout its home in Portland, Oregon. It has been nicknamed Daylight because of its orange paintwork. It has been a legend ever since its restoration. Number 3. The Norfolk Western 484 J-Class number 611. Here's another very famous steam locomotive. The Norfolk Western 611, also known as the Queen of Steam. It was built by the Roanoke shops in 1950. It retired in 1959, but was restored in 2015. It also has a speed of 110 miles per hour, or 180 kilometers per hour. So, I guess 611 and 4449 are the cool kid in high school. It has been a legend for the Norfolk Western Railway ever since 2015. You know, I feel like 611 and 4449 should be best friends. They have a lot in common. Number 2. The Milwaukee Road 464 F7 locomotive. The Milwaukee Road is not as popular as some of the locomotives we've been talking about earlier. But the F7 changed the high-speed industry forever. This is a speed demon with a top speed of 120 miles per hour, or 193 kilometers per hour. Wow, that is crazy! These locomotives were made by the American Locomotive Company in 1938. Show us your speed, F7. Zoom! You are truly a speed demon, let me tell you. 6 of these were made, but sadly, in 1951, they were all sent to the scrapyard. And now, the number 1 fastest American steam locomotive is the New York Central 464 20th Century Limited. Oh boy, this is a speed demon that is nothing but amazing. This locomotive was built by the American Locomotive Company in 1902 and started its first service. It has a top speed of 123 miles per hour, or 198 kilometers an hour. I couldn't believe my eyes when I first saw this. Like, seriously, look at this! Is it even possible for a steam locomotive to go this fast? The Mallard goes 126 miles an hour, or 202 kilometers per hour, but this is American steam trains. I repeat, American steam trains. This can blow my mind any day of the week. It ran its last service in 1967, and was stored in the Danbury Rail Museum, and was considered the world's best train. Oof, that was a lot of trains to go through. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Before you leave, make sure you like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I'll see you guys next time.